So you're probably watching this and saying, I don't have much money, I want to get into property, how do I do it? So in this video, I'm going to share with you 3 hacks which you can actually get into the property market with little or even no money. So stay tuned towards the end because I'll be revealing my best tip towards the end of the video. So the main hurdle that I've heard of is the deposit and the stamp duty. That's the biggest hurdle, no doubt about that. I'm a millennial and we grew up with rising property prices, and it's not really pleasant seeing such expensive prices right now. So the first tip that I'd like to share with you is leverage the first home deposit scheme announced by the government, because most of us have been conditioned to think I must have a 20% deposit, otherwise I can't buy a property. Well, that's not true at all. With the federal government's first home deposit scheme, you can just get into the property market with just a 5% deposit. Yes, 5%. And guess what? There's also no requirements for you to take out lender's mortgage insurance because that's backed by the government. So that means you can just get into a property with just a 5% deposit. So what does that look like for you? For example, in New South Wales, you can purchase up to $900,000 of a purchase price for any capital or major regional cities. In Victoria, it's $800,000, and I believe in Queensland, it's $700,000. And in regional cities, very minor ones, there's a smaller threshold. So there is a price threshold, but let's say, for example, you want to buy in Sydney a 2-bedroom apartment, let's say for $800,000. So all you gotta save up in cash for yourself is only $40,000 plus any relevant stamp duties and legals and whatnot. So that's much better than a 20% deposit of $160,000. So do you see the power of this? And remember, this is only allowed for first home buyers. So you can't do this if you buy an investment property or you bought a property before, only if you're a first home buyer. So for more information, I've just added a link to the description box to the federal government's website where you can download a fact sheet which will share more information about this. This is extremely powerful if you're a first home buyer and you want to get into the market with just a 5% deposit. Now, my next secret that I'd like to share with you to how to get into the market quicker is if you're buying an investment property, you actually don't need a 20% deposit. Again, I'm just busting the myth out there that you need a 20% deposit, which is not true, and you're wasting a lot of time if you're choosing to go down the 20% deposit path. Now, there are of course pros and cons of doing so, but the next tip is you can actually get into an investment property with just a 10% deposit, and that is with lender's mortgage insurance, unless of course there are some exceptions, like if you're a doctor or lawyer, speak to your mortgage broker about that because you can potentially get your lender's mortgage insurance waived. So a 10% deposit is much better than a 20% deposit. So again, if you're buying a $500,000 investment property, for example, all you need is $50,000 plus about $25,000, give or take, stamp duty and other costs as well. So you can get in with about a $70,000, $75,000 deposit, much better than the 20% deposit of $100,000+. So that is my next tip: is utilize the bank's lending policy where you can actually leverage up to 90% of the purchase price. So that will allow you to get into the market quicker and take advantage of the compound growth. Now, my next tip is this is how you can get into the market potentially with no deposit at all, and it's just a disclaimer as well. You need to have parents for this, okay? So this is the next one. It's called the family guarantor kind of loan structuring. So speak to a mortgage broker about this, but this is how, for my understanding, how it works as well, is rather than you having to fork out a 5, 10, 20% deposit, you can instead leverage the equity of your parents' paid off home. Because if you've got parents like me, for example, they probably have lived for 30, 40 years in Australia, they probably have paid off their home, it's not doing anything, it's equity sitting there, then talk to your broker about potentially structuring a parental kind of guarantor loan structure whereby they lend you as guarantors the equity in the home in lieu or instead of you paying a deposit. So the bank will basically have them as a guarantor, they have you as the primary borrower, and they just take their home or family home as collateral to support your purchase. Now, there is pros and cons in doing so because having family and mixed with money matters generally don't generally have not a good idea, but there are pros and cons. Again, there are risks involved as well, because your parents can potentially get caught up in the loan if you choose to default. So there is lots of things, and definitely speak to your parents about it if they're comfortable, and definitely speak to a licensed mortgage broker for more understanding about the risks and also the benefits of this approach as well. So that's potentially one way which you can get in with less deposit or no deposit at all, because you're relying on the parents' home's equity to get into the market quicker. Securities, i.e. the family home, then you just go to the bank and go, hey, our property's grew to $1 million, you can hold the loan itself, can you please discharge my parents' mortgage, and therefore they can get away from the loan. But this usually takes about 35 years, usually after one more property cycle, and your property has grown in value. So that's an advantage of that, is you can actually technically pay off your family's home by leveraging the property's increased value. So that's typically how people exit from the family guarantor structure. So the family walk away with a paid off home to help their kids get into the property, and you yourself, you got in with little or no money down. 2 years, prices gone through the roof. Now it's under a healthy correction, which is awesome. And if you found this video helpful, let me know below what strategies have you thought about yourself. I'm keen to learn about it as well. And if you do know somebody who needs to hear this information, whether they're buying the first property or they're stuck after the second one, there are some strategies around that. I'm more about helping the average person get into property and really leverage their wealth into financial freedom. So please support my channel and comment and like if you enjoyed this video. And before I sign off, I'd like to thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next video soon. Thank you. Bye.